Welcome. In this explainer, we're going to take a standard database model and, with just a few lines of code, turn it into a live, fully functional API. We're talking no boilerplate, no more writing the same controllers over and over, just pure, unadulterated speed. So let's get right into it. Okay, let's dive in by starting with a problem every .NET developer out there knows all too well. It's that syncing feeling, right? You know you have to write the same CRUD endpoints, the same DTOs, and the same mapping logic for the 10th time. It's the boilerplate grind that just slows everyone down. I mean, look at this. You've seen this code a million times. For every single entity, a blog, a user, a product, you name it, you're writing this exact same structure. It works, sure, but it's not creative, and man, it just eats up so much of your most valuable resource, your time. But what if you could just skip all of that? I mean, completely. Imagine getting a full-blown, high-performance API without writing a single controller and not just with some clunky, hard-to-maintain files that a scaffolding tool spits out. Well, that is exactly the promise of ChillSharp. So let's actually start at the finish line. On the left, you've got a client sending a simple request to create a new blog. And boom, on the right, the API just works. It responds with a success code and the data for the new entity. We didn't write this endpoint. It was just there. And here's the same thing, but for a read operation. The client asks for a blog post with a specific ID, and bang, it gets the data right back in perfect JSON. All those standard RESTful operations, they're just ready to go from the second you start your app. So the big question is, how did we do this? How do we go from a simple database model to a fully working API with almost no code? Well, as you're about to see, it's way simpler than you might think. You know, the crazy part is it all comes down to just 3 simple steps. First, you define your entity. Then you set up your database context. And finally, you just register the service. That's it. Let's break them down one by one. All right, let's get into step 1, building the blueprint. It all starts with our data, right? The entity itself. Okay, so check out our blog class. It looks pretty normal, but notice it inherits from ChillEntity. Now, that's pretty cool because it gives you stuff like a good ID and audit fields right out of the box, so you don't have to define them over and over again. But the real magic here, it's that chill property attribute. That's you telling ChillSharp, hey, this is the stuff I want to expose in my API. Okay, so we've got our entity defined. The next piece of the puzzle is the database context that's going to manage it. Now, if you've ever worked with Entity Framework Core, this is going to look super familiar. It's just your standard DbContext with a DB set for our blog. The only thing you have to add is this one little interface, AddChillContext. So what's the deal with AddChillContext? Well, it's actually the secret sauce. Think of it like the bridge that connects your world, your EF Core model, to the ChillSharp engine. It's how the engine automatically finds all your entities when the app starts up. It's the key that makes the whole thing work. All right, our blueprint is done. We've got the entity, we've got the context. Time to turn on the engine. And here it is, the grand finale. And it is ridiculously simple. Seriously, look at this. It's just 2 lines of code in your program.cs file. The first one, AddChillApi. You're just telling ChillSharp about your app DbContext. And the second one, MapChillApi. Well, that just does all the heavy lifting, creating every single endpoint you need. And that's it. You're done. Your API is live. You know, this quote here really nails the whole idea. Your EF Core model isn't just code anymore. It's the architectural plan for your entire API. You hand that blueprint over to ChillSharp and it just builds the whole thing for you. A complete high-performance API built in an instant. Okay, so getting a CRUD API up this fast is awesome, for sure. But honestly, that's just scratching the surface. This simple foundation unlocks so much more power. So in the next few explainers, we're going to build on this. We're going to dive into how you can add rich metadata for your clients, how to lock down your API with proper authentication and even role-based permissions. We'll look at handling complex relationships, and yeah, we'll even wrap the whole thing up in a Docker container. Look, this way of working can totally change how quickly you can build stuff, from prototypes to full-on applications. So I want to leave you with this question. When you're not spending all those hours, all that energy writing the same old boilerplate, what are you going to build? What amazing ideas are you finally going to have the time to bring to life?